All right, we're going to do a nice cozy Q&A in our robes. Mine feels like a velvet rabbit.
Yep. Yep. Get that velvet.
You guys sent in questions, and we have answers
Maybe.
for your questions.
Possibly.
Potentially.
We might be thinking of them on the spot.
I've gotten a lot of questions from people saying, was this inspired by Everyday? Yes, it was. I've actually never read the book. I've never even...
I didn't know it was a book before people started
I had no idea it was a book.
Is this inspired by the book? And I was like, there's a book now?
I saw a trailer like a year ago for the movie. They had come out with a movie adaptation of it, and all I saw was really the concept of like somebody switching bodies every day, and I was like, oh my god, that's really fun, that's really cool.
Previously I'd been in Amsterdam with my sister, and we had watched the Korean version of that film.
It's not based off of Everyday, it's based off of a comic, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was based off of a comic.
Similar concept, but instead of switching bodies,
it's the same person and his body changes every day.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. Yeah. That was like a really fun interpretation as well.
Yeah, introduced a lot of different like, rules, Yeah. So I really like the Korean one.
Yeah.
But you do this all the time where you like message me like, this would be a cool concept, we should do this. And I'm like, okay, honey.
As I'm writing it, you're going, this is my favorite thing you've ever done.
Because you were kind of like, I'm gonna write it, and I'm like, sure you are, honey. And then he started sending me bits of it, and I was like, holy shit, we have to do this.
And then a year later, it was nice having something that like, you know, I mean, the basic concept wasn't my idea, but the whole script is mine, you know, and it was really fun having that be like, everyone's so excited about it.
The universe is yours, right? And so I think that's why I love when AUs that I do are so well received. It's like even more of a compliment.
Like, I made this!
It's more of your work.
I made this for you!
No one will understand that reference.
Everyone will understand that reference, except for you. I think what was really fun was going back after I'd finished writing the script, because I refused to watch the film until I'd completed the script. Because I didn't want to be influenced at all. I had the basic concept and I wanted to just kind of do my own thing with it. So, you know, a year later, I finally watched the film and was a little bit disappointed. Mostly because the acting was kind of just like, So I watched both films that were kind of like the inspiration for it. So there was Everyday, and I think the other one's called The Beauty Inside.
Yeah.
Something like that. I loved the Korean version.
It was great.
The acting was phenomenal.
So good.
The story was so well thought out. It was just like really, really fun. But the ending was a little bit like, meh. The ending of the other one, even though I didn't like it as much, was great. Yeah. I loved the ending because it wasn't what you expected.
No, it kind of subverted like those tropes.
The concept that I'd created kind of fell in between the two of them.
And it was so funny to see how different each of them were.
I could do a whole video just talking about those two films. That'll be another time. Anonymous asked, is there a teeny tiny chance that you'll continue If I Could See Your Face from a Wolfstar perspective? No.
Do an entire AU series centered around Jilly and people are like, yeah, but Wolfstar. Guys!
We wanted this to be Jilly. We wanted this to be James and Lily Central, and I do so much Wolfstar. I know you guys love Wolfstar, and thank you. I appreciate it.
It was a fun element to add, and we liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was really fun to add like that little hint of Wolfstar.
It was definitely a secondary element to the main story.
For sure. Suicide Blonde 1 said, when you were writing If I Could See Your Face, were you writing it with Jess and or others, and how long did it take from concept to finished product? Jess helps me with everything, so just know that pretty much anything we put out will always have been seen and helped on by the other person, so.
You wrote the foundation of it, and then we kind of refined it together. Because it was such a weird, plot-centric, magic-centric, completely new kind of rules, we had to make it make sense within the boundaries of what we were doing, so that required a lot of like tweaking,
fine-tuning,
refining.
It was a little complicated. From concept to finished product, it has been a very long time.
Anywhere from like 3 to 5 to 6 months. like to actually get a finished product in terms of a script, because there's so many iterations. You will like leave it for a month and go back to it and be like, well, this needs changing. Or write another part like 2 weeks before it's meant to be finished.
Yeah.
So yeah, these scripts I think are very time consuming. It's not just the filming.
But yeah, and then the filming took a solid month. just from like filming our parts. Jess had the most to film. Both of us have written these like giant ass scripts that have taken us over a year to write. I cast Jess in pretty much like every thread, where I'm in like 5 maybe.
And then in my series,
I'm in pretty much every thread. It balances out, works out. Rainy Human said, did James suddenly remember Lily, or was he just pretending the whole time in the last thread? Kind of what I explained in the backstory that I published was the connection that he had to Lily being the last person that he had thought about before he was separated from his body the first time. That was what was slowly kind of bringing him back as he's falling in love with Lily. The connection is getting stronger to his body. Right. So when he goes back to his body the first time, it's more of his determination to be in a body that will allow him to keep his promise and make it for her birthday and be there for her during something that's like important to her. But it wasn't fully connected to his body yet because he'd been separated for so long. So
it wasn't like his memories all came back or immediately. It was still like kind of the James like disembodied soul.
Yeah, he still wasn't connected. Like the tether had not been tied. He kind of comes to the realization of like, I love this person and I want to be with this person.
Yeah, and then he does connect back, but in the process loses the memories he had when he was separated from his body. It's still in there somewhere. That's why he keeps having these dreams.
All the memories that have been collected by his soul, he can't access them
until he meets Lily again and she triggers it.
His waking world and his sleeping world connect.
That was one of my favorite lines in the entire thing, was when he was saying, I feel more awake when I'm dreaming or something. And then it was like, I always wake up to you. And I was like, oh, god damn it!
Anonymous says, we know you're cool with friendly intimacy, but was it ever awkward or amusing to film the kissing scenes? Guys, we have a lot of bloopers.
That's good.
It's not awkward. It's not awkward at all.
No.
Because we know each other so well and we're both just very like comfortable with this kind of stuff. But it's very amusing.
It's not like just kissing a person, it's like kissing a person for camera, so you have to make sure it looks nice.
It looks nice. It's gotta look pristine.
Right, it's gotta look aesthetic. So we were both being so technical about it.
Hey, you turn your head slightly to the side.
It was like, you go this way and then pause a bit more and then we do, and it was just like so like constructive.
Which is so funny because it always ended up being the first take that was the best.
Which was the natural one.
Which is the natural one where you're just like, okay, let's just go for it. So that's what the kissing scenes are like.
That worked well.
Romulus and Remus Lupin said, does Lily ever see any of the people James' soul inhabited again? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're people who are in that area. I'm sure it's a lot more awkward when she sees them again. I'm sure she probably just pretends not to know them because she doesn't know them.
I hope she doesn't run into Fenrir again, though.
Romulus and Remus Lupin asks again, would James' soul have gone to every person in the city if stuff with Lily hadn't happened?
What?
Okay. Yeah, no, I get what they're saying. Okay, so the question is, would James' soul have managed to make it to every person in the city if Lily hadn't come along and been kind of the catalyst for him going back to his body? Mm-hmm. The way that I see it is it just would have continued and continued until something made a connection or until he kind of lost himself. With the passing of time, he's gradually kind of becoming less and less of his own unique person because he's having to adapt so much to the people around him. By the time Lily comes around, like, he's been inhabiting so many bodies that he doesn't have his own sense of style anymore. Like, each person that you see has their own style, and it's because James is catering to whatever person he's in. When he meets Lily, he's kind of going out of his way to be around her. Normally he wouldn't do that with the bodies that he's inhabiting. He tries to kind of live their life so that he causes minimal damage to what they're doing, but he has such a strong connection to Lily that he just really wants to be around her.
He's returning to himself a little bit more the more and more time he spends with her.
When he finds the support system and he finds people that are willing to listen to him and believe him, it's just like, oh my god, yes, finally! Anonymous said, did you always know that James was going to have a real body somewhere that he would find his way back to, or did you ever consider an alternate ending? I went through so many variations of the plot for this.
I shot a lot of them down.
A lot of them down. The first concept that I came up with was actually that the body that James ends up in is James, but the soul is not necessarily James. The idea that we had was that James had never been in a body where the soul had left, like the person had died while he was in the body. And so when James enters the last body that he was in, it was going to be one that was about to die. And so he takes the place of the soul. So that was the original concept for it. Didn't like it as much.
No.
But it was a fun concept. Didn't
been...
shoot it down because it was shit.
No. It would have been heckin' angsty, and I love that.
Hella angst.
Like fucking like James just dying in Lily's arms, and it's like, oh no, and then he's like, no, I'm back, and it's like, what? I think in terms of story, the ending we had was more solid and like satisfying. Anonymous
said, do you have some ideas about Marlene's future? Is she gonna eventually meet the lovely eyebrows girl?
I love eyebrows!
Dorleen is canon in every AU.
It's never not.
Just know that whatever we make, Dorleen will be canon. Yes, they end up meeting again. She gets to hang out with eyebrows.
Also, Marlene and Dorcas don't die in this AU. I'm just putting it out there. They live.
Yeah, they live.
Long and
Everyone
happy,
lives.
Old lesbians together with
everyone lives AU.
Many, many animals. It's fine.
Who was your favorite character to play? Says Anonymous. Really loved playing Remus James. It was so strange being Remus with James' personality.
It was so weird. Remus's face looked so different when you were James.
It was
because
weird.
You were using your face in a different way.
Remus has such polar opposite expressions of James, and it was just very entertaining and very not Remus, and I think that's what was the most fun, was being able to play characters that would never act that way, acting that way. Same thing with Fenrir. Being able to play Fenrir with a
Fenrir being like, that was weird.
That was really fun.
Lily, obviously, and Marlene, and I did do Tonks as James. And I always loved playing Marlene. She was just fucking ridiculous in that entire thread. She was golden. I remember reading
Marlene.
like what you had written for Marlene. I barely changed anything. You're writing Marlene better than I write Marlene. So Marlene was really fun. But playing Tonks as James was so weird because they're not actually massively different.
No, they have pretty similar mannerisms.
Excitable and like spunky, but James is just a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah, they're like the same genre of character.
I really enjoyed being like, okay, what does TT do as James? And then like transferring that onto Tonks. I'm just like doing all the expressions and then showing you the foot and you're going, wah! That's me! That's my face on your face! And
it was so weird. Like the little crooked half smile, I was like, the fuck? And that was the thing with everyone who sent in footage. Like, holy shit. It was so fun because this was such a big collaborative project.
Yeah.
We worked with so many people and it was so fun to see all these people sending in their footage and being able to like go through and be like, holy shit, they did their research?
Yeah. Kudos.
Good job,
involved.
guys. Everyone in the comments, that was, I think, like the most gratifying thing was having everyone in the comments be like, oh my god, it's the same mannerisms. Because we thought it was great, but having it actually translate to an audience who doesn't know what's going on and having them recognize the little things that were put in, like the hair tousling and all that stuff. It was really fun to be able to see that, like how well it was translated over. Dead at the Inside said, how did you choose the actors? There are so many freaking amazing RPers in this community. Like, guys, this community is full of just so much talent.
Spoiled for choice. I wish we could have like worked with more people.
There isn't like a wrong way to go when you're casting people because everyone's so fucking good.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of more like seeing what version of the character we wanted.
We've seen people's interpretations of characters, not necessarily the character that they were playing in the script, but
but just kind of like their mannerisms and stuff
and how
and
they
what
work
would fit
with,
James.
Like, yeah, how they work with the the comedy aspect, how they work with a more serious aspect.
Yeah.
We knew some of the actors were like really good at like being funny, some of them were really good at like being serious and like angsty.
Yeah, it was just kind of a process of looking at everyone's stuff and just being like, okay, we think that this person would fit really well, and then shooting them a message and being like, hey, you wanna do this? We had some people who weren't able to do it, we had some people who could, and so it was just kind of a process of like figuring out who was available and who wasn't.
Yeah.
And
I was probably the worst person to work with because I think there was like threads going out and I hadn't got you like...
You hadn't gotten me your footage.
Or I hadn't filmed it, and like there was a thread going out in 2 days and we was like, I haven't filmed that part yet, and I was like, oh my god, there's so much to film.
We were cutting it down to the wire.
Yeah.
It was intense. It ended up being just the most perfect cast, and everyone was so damn good.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. Sarah Rooks asked, do you have any particular routine before acting to get in a special state of mind or mood? Usually with comedy, we just kind of go right into it. With drama or angst, it takes a minute. A bottle of wine.
I remember filming like the last couple of threads where Lily was like really fucking upset. Was really hard because I've filmed intense emotional scenes since then and found it much easier, but for some reason that night it was just like...
That was the day that we did like everything for James and Lily.
My process in terms of this thread was delirious with tiredness and on the verge of a mental breakdown, and that's why my acting was so intense. We burnt ourselves out. We filmed from like 11 o'clock in the morning till like 7 o'clock the following morning. And then you instantly got sick.
We were filming for just a script the next day. It's so funny, we've had to refilm all the footage from that day.
Yeah.
Because I was just like comatose. I was in there like, I feel really weird, and Jess just thought I was in like a bad mood or whatever, and I'm like,
didn't know what was wrong
I think I'm sick. And then I was sick for 2 weeks.
And then you gave it to me. Note to self, don't film for 24 hours in a row.
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Anonymous said, would you ever come online as characters from your AU to answer questions? If that was something that you guys would be interested in, that could be fun.
Lily and James would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
Lily, do you wish James had slipped into one of the other bodies? Permanently? Are you happy with this choice? James is just like, of all the bodies I had to be fucking blind, I don't have glasses and this hair.
If everyone wanted that,
yeah,
we could probably do that. That'd be fun. I wouldn't mind that.
We have no time.
We have no time to do anything. The moon and stars, my love, said the pacing...
They write the best tags. Oh my god.
We read them all.
Love them.
So the pacing in the thread was fantastic. Each part moved the plot along brilliantly and kept us super engaged. Thanks. My question is, oftentimes as creators, we really love specific moments and want to find a way to include every idea we have. Were there any moments that you wanted to explore further that you first began writing, but ultimately ended up having to edit down or cut to keep the plot moving?
I cut so much stuff. This is my job, right, as TT's editor. You send me like a 20 part thing and I go, okay, you're allowed maximum 15, and you go, but okay, what? No, maximum 15, and I go, you make it 15 and then I'll read it. To answer that question, yes, it's really hard because we could write and write and write, especially because it's an AU, and I would have loved to write, you know, more of the reunion, like Sirius being like, oh no! But
as far as like scenes that were cut from the original script, I had a whole scene with Dumbledore that ended up being cut, which I was kind of sad about, but it didn't really like add to anything. It was just really funny to see Dumbledore acting like James.
You've got to find a balance of having nice, funny, like comedic moments and also making
moving
sure
the plot
each
along.
moment moves the story along.
Yeah,
You know?
Yep. But what's funny is a lot of these concepts came later too. So I didn't originally have the idea of Sirius and James having been friends before the accident. It was just kind of like, oh fun, let's bring Sirius and Remus in. A lot of the backstory actually happened after the thread was completed. When I was working for Evermore, that's kind of what we did. I wrote the backstory for the park for the first and second season. Kind of what you had to do was just really think on the spot. You're in an interactive park where people are coming in and improvising. And so I'd have actors coming to me at the end of the day going, so I told everyone this. We kind of need to write it into the script now. And I'm just like, oh my God. So for me, I wrote the script and then I got to the end and I was like, oh, this could lead to this could be this could be this.
Yeah.
And I ended up coming up with the backstory.
You just presented me this like
After.
entire post of like the backstory of everything and how it all interwove, and I was like, did you like have this in your head when you wrote it? You're like, nope.
Nope.
I was like, you just thought of this, and you're like, yup. And I was like,
So
okay.
sorry to break it to you guys. This happened after. Do you enjoy seeing us suffer, says Small Autumn Child. Yeah.
Yeah. We suffer as well. We're not emotionally devoid people. I'm acting as Lily and I'm going, you fucking idiot, James.
You bastard.
And I'm editing it like in near tears, being like, oh my god, poor Lily. And like, you know, I'm emotionally traumatizing myself. I'm having all of the exact same reactions you are when you read it for the first time, only I'm living it. So actually, I have it worse off than you guys. So stop complaining.
The Marvelous Jack says, the things that really confused me was that Tonks was all grown up.
AU.
AU.
Doesn't matter. It's a completely different universe. It's not Harry Potter, hence why Fenrir was sat there chatting with Remus and Remus wasn't going, oh my god, Fenrir!
Yeah.
Like, it was just to simplify the story and have characters that we wanted in it and like,
Yeah.
you know, make it interesting and fun.
Don X Treader said, how did Sirius react to the ending, and Remus for that matter? And by ending, I mean the whole my best mate possessed of people I know for 3 years while in a coma, including me and my new boyfriend thing. Remus, Marlene, and Lily are the only ones who know about James. Like,
Yeah.
Remus is already in over his head dating Sirius. He doesn't want to bring another weird factor into it.
And Sirius is so laid back about all the new people joining their friendship group every day.
He's just
that
like, wow, you guys just have a lot of really fun friends that are like all awesome. I love every single one of your friends.
Yeah.
Because they're all your best
James.
friend. But he doesn't make the connection because it's like, first off, you know, it's 6 months that they're together or whatever, and he's not hanging out with them every day. And also, I don't think he would even have it in his mind that
No.
James could be possessing people. He's just really sad about his friend.
He sees James, he's in a coma, he doesn't twig that this random crazy magic soul swapping thing could be happening. It
Yeah.
doesn't even occur to him.
So Sirius doesn't know about it until afterwards.
Yeah.
OMG Super T-Man stuff. Would you make If I Could See Your Face into a movie?
If someone wants to pay for it, with what money?
With what cash?
Marauders film is the priority.
Yes.
Then maybe If I Could See Your Face. But
I think there's a lot of threads that we would love to make into like actual like short films.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of time and money and resources, and we don't have those yet. We're getting there. Yet.
World domination is on the way, possibly. It's not something that we would just be like, oh, we'll make a film and we'll just like...
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna make a film, we're gonna make a film. Like, we're both that pedantic and and control freakish that, like, if it's gonna
It has
be
to
a
be
film,
perfect.
it's gonna be like a film. So,
So
sadly, not in the pipeline. Maybe one day, who knows?
Bohemian17 said, so I was thinking about If I Could See Your Face. The fact that in any condition, in every universe, James Fleamont Potter takes one look at Sirius Orion Black and decides that he's going to be his best friend. A+ romance. Thank you!
It has to be done.
It had to be done.
In every single universe, James and Sirius end up together.
Bro TP.
And James also competes for, like, his undying love. It's just always
Yep.
gonna happen.
Yep.
They will always find each other.
They are the ultimate OTP.
Always.
Anonymous said, did the other cosplayers get the whole script or just their scene? I sent out the whole script to everyone because I wanted everyone to have a really clear idea of what was going on. I thought it might be a little bit too confusing if they just got a piece of it and I said, hey, act like James. Whereas with Jess's script, she's been sending out just the parts that they're in.
I'm pulling an Avengers Endgame on my guys. I'm like, you only get this part and nothing else. No, they understand the concept of the script. I'm not like, they know who they're acting against. I'm not being like a Russo brother and being like, okay, you're acting at a green ball and that's it.
Some other general questions that we've gotten have been stuff like, what's the difference between writing an AU script as opposed to a canon script? So as far as like writing an AU, you've got this canon information, you have established characters that everyone knows who they are, and you're just getting to put them in a different setting, in a different world.
You're not restricted by like timelines or like any other canon information. You're just kind of given like a cast of characters that
that you already know and love.
very well, but you're able to create your own universe for them. That's why like AU fanfics are so popular, because it's it's so different.
And it's fun being able to see your favorite characters in a whole bunch of different settings and a bunch of different timelines.
This far along in the existence of the RP community for Harry Potter, like, we've exhausted pretty much every storyline, canon storyline there is. That's why AUs are actually so much fun, because we're not having to do stuff that we kind of...
Over and over and over again.
You know, you can write a thread about the relationship between Sirius and Marlene, and you know how it's going to end. You know that Marlene dies, blah, blah, blah. But no one knew how this series was going to end. People were like, are they going to end up together? Is James going to get his memories back? And that was why I think the feedback was so good, because people were so hooked on the story and they didn't know how it was going to end. So I really liked that aspect of it.
Well, it's also fun being able to step out of canon and be able to create something that's your own. We all take inspiration from everything else, you know. It's like that's the whole point of, you know, role-playing these characters.
No idea is
original, but you're able to kind of take something and put your own unique twist on it. In my case, I was taking it from two separate fandoms of Harry Potter and from the everyday concept, and I made my own concept with characters that everyone knows. And so you don't have to have the backstory or explain who they are or get people to love them.
Right.
It's already established.
Yeah.
There was a post that I saw on Tumblr that was talking about how like fan fiction and fan content is kind of its own genre, because you're taking characters that everyone knows, and whereas with the original content you have to build up to getting to know them, and you have to learn how to love them, and you have to develop a relationship with them.
Right, but
the relationship's already established.
You're invested from the get-go, yeah.
And it's just expanding on that content. And so that was a really cool post. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But you go see a film, you don't have the same kind of investment that you would have if you watched like a series, where they have the time to expand on it. And if you're reading a book, you only have that allotted amount of time to get to know characters. And then fandom content is how you kind of explore them more and how you're able to grow to love them even more. So I think that's what's fun about writing an AU is being able to take those characters and have that liberty to write something about people that everyone already loves.
And put them in different situations, and you get to see different sides of them. Like, you don't often get to see, like, James at the end of his tether leaving Lily in canon, because James is always the one pursuing Lily. In what other world would you see James actually go, nope, can't be with you, I'm leaving you, we can't be together, and leaving? Like, that's not James.
That's not James!
That would never happen. But in this situation it does, and we get to see why and what reaction that brings out of both of them.
You get to like show it in a way that makes like logical sense. Like, yes, he's been in other people's bodies for 3 years. He's had this time to learn how to be selfless, because James is a little bit selfish, you know. He has a tendency to be that way. And so he's had time to learn how to adapt to being different people and to see things from other people's perspective and to realize that everything's not about him.
Okay, my question for you is like, what's been like the difference in reaction and feedback between this series and say something like the Snowball Effect?
Very different, because one of them is once again more like canon compliant, and the other one is more of an AU and more of an original concept. So with the Snowball Effect, it was fun being able to establish the relationships with all of their friends instead of it just being the Marauders and Lily. We hadn't really established before, like Mary, who I love with a fiery burning passion.
So much so that we were like, Arbs, you have to be in this one
You have to be Mary again, even though it's not Mary, but you have to be it. Everyone really liked it, which was really fun. And it was Wolfstar, so of course everyone liked it. But with this one, I think what was really fun was, being able to explore relationships in a different capacity, like Marlene and Remus. And also the fact that nobody knew what was going to happen. And all the theories that were going around.
Oh, it was brilliant.
That freaking Sunny in Philadelphia, like, that meme.
We had spent so long in this story and making the plot that actually it seemed pretty obvious to us. But actually, people reading it face value for the first time, what was going on wasn't immediately obvious. So a lot of people were kind of like, why is Frank acting so weird in that first thread? And a lot of people going, oh, Metamorphagus? Or, oh, Polyjuice Potion? Or, oh, is it even James? And I'm like, how are you not getting that it's James? And then I was like, no, actually, because that's pretty fair enough. Because just no one knows what's going on. So that was so satisfying.
That was really fun.
For people to be like following like the plot twist. And so the reactions to each thread was so much more, like,
Ash's like mile-long analysis in the tags.
Oh my god.
Your idea was way cooler than ours, Ash.
Some people give us too much credit for our intelligence. They were like, oh yeah, and this is what's happening, and they thought of all of these things, and I'm like,
that's a lot cooler than what I came up with.
Introducing like a what's going to happen next element. I've kind of taken some of that in terms of when working with scripts in canon, introducing OCs. So we've kind of found like a middle ground when writing like big long series that are set in canon, so everyone pretty much knows where this is going to go, but they're not quite sure. You introduce an OC into that mix, like we're doing with this series, this next series that we're doing. It introduces way more unpredictability and way more like potential for plot twists, because you don't know that character, they are not in canon, and you've got to see how they fit into the story, and it could change many things.
Well, and there's so much information that we don't know about in canon because you're only seeing it from Harry's perspective, and you know, Dumbledore wore roller skates all the time, and Sirius and Remus were straight. You only get to see things from Harry's perspective, and so you never get to see Remus and Tonks develop their relationship. There's a lot of things that you can bring into that.
Tonks and Bellatrix, right? Bellatrix is constantly going after Tonks. In the Battle of Department of Mysteries, Tonks gets hit by Bellatrix and, like, you know, is seriously injured by her. In the Battle of the Seven Potters, whatever it is, where in the last book, she says to Remus, Bellatrix was really trying to kill me that time, and in the end, she is killed by Bellatrix, but you never actually see them interact very much. You just
you
know
don't
that
get to see the rivalry.
There's this constant rivalry between them. So actually, when you take Harry out of the picture and you dive into that and, like, what's actually happening, there's
so
way much more to explore.
Remus's main antagonist is Fenrir, and you don't really know.
You don't see that.
Yeah, you don't see that in canon, but you know that Fenrir is the one who turned him, so that's a perfect way to kind of introduce Fenrir as a main villain. You know that he has a pack. You know that there's you know, that there's other werewolves that are involved with Voldemort, and that's a whole bunch of OCs that you can create that are really interesting people and really, you know, could add a lot to the plot. So it's fun. It's fun being able to work with OCs and being able to introduce new concepts and kind of your own original content to the world that's established. All right, so that's it for today.
Thank you for your questions.
Thank you for your questions.
And thank you for your support on the series. It was so
fun.
We're so happy you liked it.
So glad.
We hope you enjoyed the next project just as much.
It's gonna be lit. We will see you guys later.
Bye!
Peace.